I just flew back from across the country, so flew all the way to Arizona, flew back for a holiday party, because that's what you do sometimes, you have holiday parties. And it got me thinking about what goes into finding this time to do what I don't know, loosely calling meditative photography, because I had a holiday party for a lot of people. Was they showed up, they had to think about what they were wearing, they had to hope that they didn't get too drunk and have negative memories for the rest of their life. What I did was I had lots and lots and lots of meetings. I had lots of people that don't get to see me very often. I had a lot of people who maybe had stuff that they needed to get off their chest by the end of the year. I had a lot of things. And so that plus schedule plus everything else, I had to choose to go out and shoot photos. And I had to choose what to bring with me. And I had to think about what I would encounter and how would I make use of the time and make use of the space. And so I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. I thought I would talk about, maybe you're on the fence about how could you even do this? I'm so busy. First off, I don't like the word busy. I have a rule in my life that I never say I'm busy. I say that I'm blessed. And this is no exception. I got the great privilege and opportunity of seeing people that I don't get to see in person all the time. And no matter how much we live in a digital world, look at you and me in this glass. It's not the same as being face to face with someone. And so I got the chance to see a bunch of people in real live 3D. I saw some people's family that I hadn't met. Just great experience. But then I need time for me. This party was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and Scottsdale is absolutely perfect for certain people, none of them named Chris Brogan. But I want to talk to you about, how did I get out? What did I do? How did I make even a fraction of time for me to get back in my head and to meditate and think and create something of value? Something funny, such a vain thought. I only have a couple of videos on this brand new channel, and if I wore that sweater, I would have 2 videos wearing the same sweater, and you'd think I only own 1 sweater. Joke's on you, I own 2 sweaters. One thing I like about the concept of this, about meditation, is that there's probably technically ways you could say a certain kind of meditation is wrong, but we're not judging ourselves on it. We're just trying to find the thing that works for us. The way that I like to go out and do photo shoots for myself is that I like to do just a little bit of research. I like to go see if there's any events happening, because the thing I most like to take photos of are people interacting with things. And then I like to go find those things and shoot them. And I will make a whole video on kind of my whole step-by-step process, because I think you find it kind of interesting. But for this trip, I just said, well, it's Arizona. We'll see what I see. I got out there, and the place was in this very manufactured area. There were golf courses and shopping malls. And I took a few photos, but I decided I didn't want to play. We had the company event. We had hundreds of people at the company event. So I didn't want to be the event photographer, but I definitely wanted to take a few shots. So I got a few, and I loved them. I loved the few shots that I took for what they were. Earlier in the day, I'd had a meeting with a coworker, Andy, and I said to him, this is so weird. Can we just stop talking for a minute? I just need to take and recreate a photo of what I just saw you doing. You were sitting, you kind of had this pensive kind of look. You were looking out at the light. And I said, and I stopped hearing what you said for a few sentences, because I thought, man, that would make a great photo of you. So I took it. I made him pose for me. The moments where I got a chance to shoot, and in the moments where I went out and took a shot, I had 3 lenses with me. I brought only 3 because, again, I'm on an airplane. Like, I have very small amount of baggage with me. I can't take everything. And 3 lenses is probably too much, but this one's so tiny. Look at it. This is a manual lens. It's a modern lens that is made to look old. This one's by TT Artisans. It's 50 millimeter, and what they call this on any camera is they usually call it the Nifty 50 because it's a focal length that you can kind of do a lot with. But it's manual, and what I mean is I have to turn the little dial to get the focus just right. And it makes you focus on what you're doing. So every time I think of focus in a picture, I think of it as focusing in my meditation. And so I used this the most. This is the lens I used the most. The other 2, one I never even put on my camera. It was a 25-70. It's a modern lens. It's kind of a do-everything sort of a lens. It's a crutch of a lens. You can do anything with it. The other is an 85 millimeter portrait lens. It's a great lens if you're going to sit and do portraits of one person at a time. And what I realized almost instantly is I was in a crowd setting for that party, at least. I wasn't going to get one person at a time. So this guy, the little 50, manual 50 to the rescue. But like I said, I didn't want to be the event photographer, so I wasn't. I didn't do that. But I took it around and I put myself in my camera. With cameras, you have a choice. You can have the sort of like back thing here. Where am I? There I am. You can have the back screen, or you can look through the viewfinder. And I always thought I'd be a back screen guy because of glasses and stuff, but I find that if I look through the viewfinder, I really get to focus. I really get to put my eye into a scene. And so what I liked about this experience was that I went out there, I put my eye up to it, I turned and twisted and focused, and I got to be wherever I was. It didn't matter because it was me and the camera for a bit. And I took just a few shots, just a few fun things. I want to talk to you just one last bit about the process and about what I did so that you can recreate this. You could do this yourself. I'm kind of backlit on this shot. Bright light. All right, that looks like a shot. I'll give you 3 things. So the way I did this, the way I got out to my process, I did 3 things. I like very small rule sets for projects or for ideas. People will say things like, these 51 things are what you need to do to feel better. Our brains work with 1, 2, 3, and 5. Sometimes 4, but 4 is a weird number. Number 1, gave myself a half an hour. I said, that's all. The world can live without me for a half an hour. And by the way, the world can live without me for the rest of time. But oh my gosh, do we set these expectations and these things and we think everyone's demanding us, and maybe they are, but the world can live without you for half an hour. So I said, I'll just go out for a half hour. I'll just do a little bit of shooting. And I like to shoot brief anyway. That kind of fits my thing. I'm not an all-day shooter. I like to go out, do a little bit, come back. Number 2, and this will be a little circular, only 2 or 3 rules. So my rules were shoot manual, and my other rule was see if I can pull a theme together. Now, it was okay if I didn't, but what I ended up with was sort of like, I don't know how to explain it. So I live in New England where it's snowy in the wintertime, and you get the right sort of feeling for Christmas the way I've always experienced it. But here I was in the desert of Arizona, and I wanted to see what does Christmas look like if you're in a desert where they have to blow fake snow around, unless you go up to the mountains and stuff. So 2 or 3 rules. So my rules were manual focus and try to make a theme happen. And then the third is something to try and focus on. And the idea in this case was I wanted to focus on bringing us intimately into a space instead of just trying to see the world at large. Because how we use a lens and which lens we use, like in life, this is the life lesson part, how we use a lens decides how we see things. And so I wanted to see things intimate and up close and tiny, even if they were scary things. And that's what I came up with. all I want to say about it is that even if it's a hectic time, even if you don't have enough time for yourself overall in a specific time, we can still use some of this meditation time. Sorry, laptop. We can still use this meditation time for us and to get back on our game, to get our stuff together. It's better for all of us, I think. I think it's better the more time we find and eke out to try and do some of the stuff that makes us feel satisfied and fulfilled. I say this a real lot. Put your own mask on first, kind of like what they say in the flight videos. Put your own mask on first. And that, in this case, means find that time for you, because everything else, everyone else is going to be better if you find that time for you. I'd said this before. I talked about this a couple different times. This camera, which also went with me, it was in my pocket. It was my backup camera. This camera is the Sony A6000. It came out in 2014. It is a very, very capable 20 plus megapixels, super good quality, interchangeable lens. You can swap the lenses out. See? Interchangeable lens. Camera. The camera body itself, usually you can find it online on eBay and other places like that for around $300. The lenses can be any price. This one's $70 or $80. Sometimes you can get them as a kit for $450 US. If you were thinking, I need a first camera, this is one great example because you can kind of grow into it. But if you want something a little more budget still, I can recommend it. Just ask me in the comments, I guess, or email me, chris@chrisbrogan.com. Sony A6000. I highly recommend it as kind of a first one to go with. And the reason is, I think, just because you can set it on auto. It can fit in a jacket pocket. Pants pocket might be a bit iffy, but it can fit in a jacket pocket. And it's at a price point where you can maybe afford it, or you can at least start putting a little away for it if you have to or something. But it's a device that you can focus on instead of your phone. One of the big goals is to not have the phone in. You can use your phone for this project. I'm not going to say not to, especially if you're in a spot where you can't use the money. But if you can put the phone away, then you get another shot at things too. I'm going to go get myself a drink. I think I'm going to call it good for right now. I'm really grateful for your time. Drop me a line, chris@chrisbrogan.com. Let me know if you need anything else. I'll help you out.